As of writing this script, I have just finished playing The Story of Mirror's Edge, a game that looks so fun and definitely not misleading at all, but more on that later. Before we get into that mega fun, let's jump into the Orwellian mess that is this story, because there really isn't any story. At least not an important one. It's like part 1 of the Caves and Cliffs update. Basically, your sister Kate gets framed for the murder of Pope. No, not that Pope, this one. He does just as little and is just as unimportant, or he is important. I don't know, and neither does the game, because his screen time is less than 30 seconds, and before you know it, you're thrown into a chase sequence. After that, the rest of the game is spent figuring out who killed Pope and trying to save your sister Kate, while meeting some zany characters along the way. Don't worry, they're not important until they are, or not. I don't really know. Don't worry about that. Why are you asking so many questions? Who are you anyway? Well, you're Faith Connors. You, along with your trusty friends Celeste and Merc, are part of a group called the Runners, a group of people that are the equivalent of a vigilante Amazon. Very cool, I know. After you find Kate acting sussy, Faith tries to get Kate to run away with her, but Kate decides to stay at the scene of the crime because running away would make her look guilty.
Come with me. I'll take you somewhere safe.
This isn't the time to run. I'm not like you. Running will just make me look guilty.
You think this was an accident, Kate? There are no accidents in this city. Someone wanted him dead and wanted you to take the fall.
Which, side note, is where this loses me. You are in a room with a man who had his skull excavated with your gun. I doubt even O.J. Simpson could scurry his way out of that one. I digress. After you escape, you learn from another runner, Jackknife, that Travis Ropeburn Burnfield, destroyer of worlds and ruler of the McDonald's play place, could have been involved in Pope's murder. After sneaking through the vents of his place of work, you overhear Ropeburn, an ever-fracking supporter and Hot Topic employee, setting up a secret meeting. Faith then confronts Ropeburn, tax evader and Alex Jones impersonator at the meeting. He admits to hiring someone to kill Pope right before doing his best JFK impersonation. Faith starts investigating Ropeburn's Puffmane and Dreamstate Extraordinaire security firm and finds out that he's been aiding in the capturing of other runners. While investigating, Faith quite literally stumbles upon Project Icarus, a secret plan to hunt down the runners using other runners. After narrowly escaping, Faith tracks down Ropeburn, Jojo Villain, and Puppy Kicker's killer to a shipping boat. After chasing down the assassin in one nasty fight later, you learn the assassin was Celeste. Wow, I am shaken to my empty, deflated core. Faith then tries to stop the convoy that's taking Kate, and I kind of just realized I'm jumping between plot points, and I am very sorry. But now you get to feel the same mental whiplash that I felt while playing, just like how these guards felt real whiplash when their truck got hit with this 50 cal. Faith goes down to the crash and sends Kate back to Merc's lair. Afterwards, Faith goes back to the lair to check on Kate to find that it looks like a Jackson Pollock painting with the amount of splatter on the walls. Merc tells you that Kate was taken to the Shard, a massive building at the center of the city. Once Faith is inside, she forgot to dump all her points in the stealth previously, and so she gets caught by like 2 normal-ass guards that are led by, who are you again? Miller. Cool. Anyway, they lead you through some door, and then Miller mind games the gray matter out of the 2 guards, allowing you to climb the skyscraper, square dance with the snipers, destroy the citywide surveillance system, and have a boss fight. Or like interactive cutscene, followed by a really cool credit sequence. Now, in all fairness, the game's selling point is not the story, it's the gameplay. But we have a few more things to dig into. Most of the game's story is told through cutscenes that are, to be honest, less than good. I don't know if this is just me, but the animation just looks wrong to me. I think it's trying to match the game's frame rate to the actual, animation. I think it's trying to match the game's frame rate, so it's basically interpolating what is normally a 24 frame animation to like 100 plus. If you don't know what interpolation is, Noodle makes a great video on how interpolation makes animation bad. Essentially, the animation makes me want to scoop my eyeballs out with a metal baller. But hold on, does this mean that the story gets off of a hook? Far from it. Faith is a one-dimensional piece of cardboard that is hard to connect to as a player, the only motivation being a character that we as the player have no connection to. But Faith has such a connection to this family member that we just met seems crazy to me. Now, this might say more about my mental state than any of the game's writing, but it feels important nonetheless. Speaking of things with a lobotomy, let's talk about Celeste. She is supposed to be the big twist villain, but she gets sidelined of the game and is only really shown in cutscenes at the Chapter 1, leaving you with a big, oh, feeling when the reveal hits. And then, just like a Brexit plan, she disappears. Or kind of. In the full release, after you fight Celeste, it's assumed that she just runs off to live a normal life. But in an unused file, it's revealed that she is killed after your encounter. Which, I mean, I guess is better than nothing, but still kind of dumb. Miller and Jackknife are both characters who do nothing until they do, until they don't, which is still bad, but that's really all the outstanding issues I have with the story. But now I have to tell you why pressing buttons suck. Unlike the story, the gameplay is more nuanced and deep, which isn't really setting a high bar for itself, but you know, you gotta walk before you run. Get it? Like in the video game. You've got your normal movement options, W, A, S, and D, good old trusty with Sod, and also spacebar to jump, shift to crouch/slide, left click to attack, and right click to counterattack. And to avoid wasting your time in my editing, it's clunky and unrefined. Whenever I felt like I was getting the hang of it, EA's greasy hands would make me slip and fall 20 stories onto an unexpected bystander. The game is very punishing. If you miss your jump, then you're not making that jump. If you mistime your counter, then you're dead. If you miss your taxes, you're getting the IRS at your door, and there is no running away from them. Speaking of the combat, I can't feel like it's been forced into the game. There are just many, and I mean many times, where the game just puts you in a situation where either fighting is mandatory or running away is near impossible. Near the end of the game, Faith stops this convoy carrying her sister, and she has to make her way down the scary stairs of death, where she is bombarded by middle-aged men living a power fantasy. I died so many times on these stairs until I gave up and decided to finish it later, and I only did once I found an extremely scummy route that allowed me to finish the level and only had to kill one person. The issue I have with this though is that the game doesn't even communicate that the solution, while rat-like, is possible. In fact, it almost seems to do the opposite and promote combat, which leaves me where I am today. I think Mirror's Edge is a great game. It most certainly is not a perfect one, but the joy of running around this city is just so exhilarating. This game is not sold on the story, but instead it is sold on the jaw-dropping action and set pieces. Also, side note, the speedrunning is just something like no other. Seriously, watching one of these breaks anything you thought you knew about the game. Seriously, go watch some. So, in conclusion to this bipolar-ass video, game good, sound bye, thanks for watching.